The name stalked. Film stalked. That was terrible, I'm sorry. What's going on, guys? I'm Chris, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be giving you my review of No Time to Die, the 25th James Bond movie. James Bond has left active service. His peace is short-lived when Felix Leiter, an old friend from the CIA, turns up asking for help, leading Bond onto the trail of a mysterious villain armed with dangerous new technology. So before I give you guys my thoughts on No Time to Die, make sure to hit the like button, comment your thoughts on the movie down below, and make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any future reviews, videos, all that good stuff. Also, I do have a little bit of a cold, so bear with me if I sound a little stuffy. I apologize. So this movie's been delayed multiple times. Like, I remember gearing up to see it back in 2019 before it got delayed and delayed and delayed. But that never really took away from the hype going into this movie. I always had pretty high expectations for this. If you follow the pattern of the Bond movies, it's like really great, meh, really great, meh. So this one, does it follow that pattern? I will say this is a really good movie right off the bat. This movie is gorgeously shot, and I saw it in IMAX, and my goodness, IMAX is the way to go. I had kind of been late to the IMAX party, but I've seen my last few new releases on IMAX, and my gosh, it just sucks you in. It fully immerses you the way these movies are shot, and the opening action sequence is so riveting. In fact, all the action is riveting in this movie. There's not as much as the prior Bond movies, but when there is action, it's a chef's kiss. The sound design, from the booming of the gunshots to the car engines revving, that alone just gets me excited. But seeing these set pieces in action, it's truly a thing of beauty, and I think that Bond and Mission Impossible are like top tier action franchises right now because of their ability to blend the story with the actual action. Now, that's something that No Time to Die does differently, is while there is action, there's a lot of slower moments where you're getting to know these characters and growing an emotional attachment to Bond and the side characters in this movie. So that's kind of where the pacing can take a little bit of a back seat, and there's a lot of slower moments in the movie. I will say I think that they could have trimmed it down significantly. Like, there are moments where there will be a conversation between Bond and M, for example, and it will just go on for about 5 minutes, and there's just a lot of filler dialogue. Unfortunately, there's a lot of scenes that just feel really dragged and bogged down, and this felt like the case anytime Rami Malek's character was on screen. Now, Rami Malek plays the villain in this movie, and he does a good job, I think. Like, I think that he always gives a solid performance. He's definitely an off-putting character, very wacky and bizarre, but his actual villain is barely in the movie, in my opinion. He's there early on, and there's just massive portions of the movie without Rami Malek's character, and in order for me to kind of feel the presence of a villain and understand that he is like a menacing threat, he has to have more screen time, and I just feel like he almost had like a Killmonger role, if that makes any sense. Like in Black Panther, Killmonger's in like the beginning, and then he's gone for like 45 minutes. I felt like that was the case here. Like, we barely saw any of Rami Malek until like the last act of the movie, which was kind of a bummer because I would have loved to see more of him so that he could possibly cement himself as the GOAT Daniel Craig Bond villain. That's not the case. I would take Silva and Lashif over him. He's still really freaky and creepy with the way that he acts, and again, it makes you feel uneasy, so I have to give credit to him for that, but the writing of his character is lackluster because, again, there's not much for him to do except be this evil threat that we've seen in Bond movies. It's almost like how the MCU kind of has an evil threat that's trying to take down the world or take over the world. That's kind of what this character was doing in a sense. So because of that, the movie's kind of held back by the lackluster villain and the plotline surrounding him. It just falls flat compared to other aspects of the movie that I wish we got more of, such as an opening mission that involves Ana de Armas' character, who she steals the show, especially when she's on screen. Like, she is just so fun and charismatic, and I wish we got to see more scenes of her and Bond. Again, maybe in the future we'll see Ana de Armas' character in a Bond movie. I would love to see that, whether that's a spin-off movie or show. Sign me up for it. But again, I just wish that we got more of certain aspects of this movie and less of certain aspects of this movie. There was such a focus on these dull, long, drawn-out conversations between characters such as Rami Malek and Madeleine Swan. They just go on and on. These scenes are good scenes, but they are way too long and could have been trimmed down quite a bit to make the overall experience more enjoyable. I feel like they could have done a better job of offsetting like the pacing with like, oh, we're gonna have some action here that's gonna be accompanied by this dialogue scene that's crucial, and then the action sequence is gonna enhance that dialogue driven scene as you can feel the stakes. They do a good job of that in the third act, but a lot of the middle portion of this movie is where you can really start to feel that runtime, and by the end credits, it can almost feel exhausting and really tiring, like you would just finish like running a marathon or something, or taking a long test. There are highs and lows. The opening's riveting, and I really love the way this movie ends. It really hits home with a powerful emotional punch. In the middle portion of this movie, though, it's really easy to not feel lost because I understood everything that was going on. Almost like you're in the deep end, just kind of waiting in water, letting time pass until you get to the big epic conclusion. But Daniel Craig gives a hell of a performance here, and it's arguably the best we've seen him as Bond. Like, there are a few scenes where he's really going for it when it comes to his performance, and it really pulls on your heartstrings, and it hits home. Like, he does a great job, and you can tell he loved the character of James Bond. It's going to be sad that this is his last movie because I think that he is my James Bond. I mean, I was born in 1999, and this first Bond movie came out in 2006, so I grew up with this James Bond, so it's sad to see this historic moment, but I think they did it in a really satisfying manner. I think that most Bond fans will really love this movie. I really enjoyed it. I think that it had a lot of pacing issues, but the action is epic, and it's the best we've seen Bond when it comes to being able to emotionally attach to him, and seeing his relationships with both Madeleine Swann and other characters in this movie really lends itself to a nice send-off for James Bond. I don't think this movie's perfect. I do think there's a lot of flaws, especially in the pacing. Like, anytime a movie's over 2.5 hours, it's really unwarranted usually. I feel like they could trim a bunch of that down, but the final act of this movie is great stuff. I think the Bond villain is not great. Very meh to weak in my opinion. Could have used a lot more of Rami Malek in this movie. No Time to Die is a movie that deserves to be seen in IMAX or on the biggest screen possible because it's got some great action. It's a really solid send-off to Bond, and it's not my favorite of the Craig era, but I cannot be upset with this movie. I'm gonna give No Time to Die a 4 out of 5 stars. I think this movie's really good. That's gonna do it for my overall thoughts on No Time to Die. Again, hit that like button, comment your thoughts on the movie down below. Is it your favorite of the Daniel Craig Bond movies? And stay tuned for my ranking of all 5 Daniel Craig Bond movies coming tomorrow. I definitely have some thoughts on all those movies as I just finished my rewatch, so make sure to stay tuned for that. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on that ranking video. Thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, I'll see you guys later.